I woke up this morning to the sound of my alarm, or at least that's what I thought it was. In reality, it was the neighbor's dog, who apparently has a personal vendetta against humans getting any rest before 7 a.m. I groaned, rolled over, and pressed snooze, even though I technically didn't have anywhere to go. Working from home sounds glamorous in theory, but let me tell you, the reality is you still have to get up, shower, and pretend to be a functional human, just with no one around to see it, which somehow makes failure even more crushing. After about 15 minutes of staring blankly at the ceiling, debating whether I could pull off working in my pajamas, the answer is yes, but only if you don't plan to move from the desk. I finally dragged myself out of bed. The floor was shockingly cold. Why floors are always cold in December is a mystery I do not understand, but stepping on it with bare feet is basically a ritual in self-torture. Mr. Whiskers, my cat, clearly agreed. He lounged on the couch, judging me silently, the same way a tiny, furry, judgmental overlord would. I swear he smirked. Coffee was priority number one. I moved with a sense of purpose, determined to brew a cup strong enough to make me question all my life choices but not strong enough to cause permanent jitter paralysis. This was ambitious, apparently. I attempted to grind the coffee beans, and instead, they performed a spectacular mutiny. Coffee grounds ended up everywhere, on the counter, the floor, inside the jar of sugar, and suspiciously on the ceiling. I swear the universe has a twisted sense of humor. By the time I finished cleaning, my motivation levels had already taken a nosedive, but I was caffeinated, so I counted that as a win. Sitting down at my laptop, I was ready to be productive. I imagined myself conquering emails, crushing deadlines, and maybe even finishing a long overdue project. The reality was, of course, far less glamorous. My internet had decided to take a personal day, too. I stared at the spinning loading icon like it was mocking me, and in the ensuing boredom, I fell down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos. 1 minute, I was watching life hacks for organizing a tiny apartment, and the next, I was seeing someone build a fully functional bicycle out of cardboard. Hours disappeared like that, leaving me both impressed and terrified of the potential of human ingenuity. Eventually, hunger reminded me that I was still alive and that breakfast, or maybe lunch, was a thing I should probably address. Opening the fridge was like opening a portal to despair. A half-empty carton of eggs, a jar of peanut butter with a suspicious greenish tinge, and a lonely carrot that looked like it had been through some sort of apocalypse. I decided to be brave and made a peanut butter sandwich, scraping off the questionable mold. Don't judge me. Survival skills are important. Mr. Whiskers sniffed it and then walked away in disgust, which was painful, because pet judgment is way more cutting than human judgment. I considered weeping into my sandwich but decided against it. After eating my questionable meal, I attempted to get some work done. This consisted of staring at my screen, pretending to type, and occasionally muttering to myself about how I could have been more productive. Somewhere in the middle of this, I realized I'd been wearing the same hoodie for 3 days straight. My reflection in the screen made me question all my life choices. But hey, comfort over fashion, right? Around 2 p.m., I got a sudden burst of ambition. I decided to clean the kitchen because clearly that was the solution to my existential despair. I swept, mopped, reorganized cabinets, and even washed some dishes I didn't remember getting dirty. By the time I was done, I was sweaty, exhausted, and fully convinced that I deserved a medal for basic human functioning. Mr. Whiskers watched from his perch like he was judging me for wasting my time. Classic cat behavior. Then came the email from my boss. It was short, but terrifying in its ambiguity. "Can you send me the report ASAP?" I stared at it for a solid 5 minutes, imagining every possible disaster scenario. Did I forget to finish the project? Did I accidentally delete it? Was the report actually about taxes and I somehow missed the memo? The panic was real. I opened the files, triple-checked everything, and sent what I hoped was the correct version, all while praying to the universe that I hadn't screwed up yet again. By the time evening rolled around, I was exhausted, accomplished almost nothing, and yet somehow proud of surviving the day. I took a long shower, ate a sad frozen dinner, and considered taking a nap, but remembered I was still human and naps are for the weak. Mr. Whiskers had already claimed the bed, naturally, leaving me with the small portion of blankets that remained. And so ended my Monday, a day that was simultaneously mundane, chaotic, and mildly tragic. I knew deep down it was a day I'd retell countless times in the future, exaggerating a little here and there for comedic effect, and maybe, just maybe, finding a little solace in knowing that somewhere, someone else probably had a Monday just as absurd as mine. Tuesday started with the subtle optimism of someone who had survived Monday without dying of shame or caffeine withdrawal. I rolled out of bed, gave Mr. Whiskers a dramatic glare for judging me yesterday, and tried to convince myself I was ready to be a fully functional adult today. Spoiler alert, I wasn't. I had a Zoom meeting scheduled for 9 a.m. Normally, I'd be calm, but there's something uniquely terrifying about looking professional on camera while wearing pajamas below the desk. I spent 10 minutes debating whether it was okay to pair sweatpants with a nice shirt. I decided yes because no one could see the bottom half. Then, in a heroic act of preparation, I brewed coffee again. This time, I tried to be careful. And then, of course, my cat decided it was the perfect moment to leap onto the counter, knocking the coffee mug into my keyboard. Coffee and electronics. A combination I now officially recommend against. I spent the next 15 minutes dabbing at my keyboard with a paper towel, muttering things like, "Why is life like this?" And, "I don't even have insurance for this kind of damage." Surprisingly, my keyboard survived, but I now had a permanent coffee stain that looked suspiciously like a map of some tiny, cursed island. The Zoom meeting itself was memorable. My camera angle was slightly off, making it look like I had a third eye in the middle of my forehead. And of course, I forgot to mute myself the first time I sneezed. There's no recovery from a Zoom sneeze, by the way. I tried to laugh it off, but the silence that followed was brutal. My coworkers gave the kind of awkward nods reserved for moments when someone has done something simultaneously horrifying and hilarious. After the meeting, I decided I needed a real snack to recover. I opened the fridge and found leftover pizza from who knows when. I stared at it like it was a biohazard, but hunger won over logic. I microwaved it, muttering, "It's fine, it's fine, it's fine," which is what I now consider the official mantra of adulthood. The pizza was surprisingly okay. Slightly chewy, but acceptable. I was proud of myself for taking calculated risks in the kitchen. Around noon, the day took a turn for the chaotic. My laptop decided to perform an update right when I was about to finish a report. There I was, staring at the updating, "Do not turn off your computer screen," feeling like I had been personally targeted by technology. I paced, brewed another coffee, and considered yelling at the wall for emotional support. None of it helped. I sat there for 45 minutes, watching a progress bar inch along like it was waging a slow war against humanity. Finally, I regained control of my laptop, only to discover an email from my boss with the subject line, "Urgent. Can you handle this?" The message itself was 3 lines long and basically said, "We need this done yesterday." I stared at it, blinking like maybe my eyes could will the deadline into the future. Nope, time didn't negotiate with panic. I spent the next 2 hours scrambling, opening, closing, and accidentally renaming files. By the end of it, I wasn't sure if the document I sent was correct, but I hit send anyway. Sometimes confidence is the best lie. After all this, I took a brief mental health break, which consisted of scrolling through TikTok and muttering, "I deserve this," while watching someone make miniature desserts out of resin. Mr. Whiskers curled up next to me like nothing catastrophic had happened today, which was infuriating, because clearly he had no concept of stress. The evening came, bringing with it the emotional weight of realizing that I had yet to eat a proper meal. I attempted to cook, which always feels like a gamble. I decided on pasta because, really, how hard can boiling water be? Famous last words. I somehow managed to burn the sauce, undercook the noodles, and make a mess that looked like it had survived a small tornado. By the time I ate, I was equal parts frustrated and impressed at my own resilience. By the end of Tuesday, I had survived yet another day of working from home chaos, tech failures, and minor personal disasters. And yet, I felt strangely accomplished. Sure, nothing had gone smoothly, but somehow, I had made it through. I even laughed at myself a few times, which, let's be honest, is the true measure of survival. That I went to bed that night determined that tomorrow would be different. That I would finally conquer work, technology, and life itself, or at least remember to wear matching socks. A small but noble goal. Wednesday arrived like a plot twist I wasn't ready for. I woke up convinced that today would be the day I finally got everything together. I even wore actual jeans. Progress, right? Mr. Whiskers, of course, looked unimpressed, probably thinking, "Nice try, human. Let's see how long this optimism lasts." The morning started reasonably well. I made coffee without incident. No explosions, no spills, just pure caffeinated bliss. For a moment, I allowed myself to think, maybe, just maybe, today won't be a disaster. But of course, life is funny that way. Around 10 a.m., I received a call from my bank. I don't know why banks call you randomly, but they do, and it's always during work hours. The conversation started normally, but 30 seconds in, I realized they were asking about a transaction from 6 months ago. One that I didn't recognize. My heart raced. Was I a victim of fraud? Was this a test of my memory? My palms got sweaty. I searched through emails, statements, and even the forgotten depths of my old PayPal account. Turns out it was just a $3 subscription I had signed up for and forgotten about. Crisis averted, but not without me dramatically gasping and almost dropping my laptop onto my coffee-stained desk. The rest of the morning passed in a blur of meetings, emails, and pretending to look busy while secretly Googling how to look productive while actually doing nothing. I consider myself a professional at this now. Around noon, I decided to take a walk, get some fresh air, stretch the legs, and pretend I have my life together. I made it 2 blocks before realizing I had left my mask at home. This seems trivial, but in my neighborhood, everyone glares at you like you've committed a felony if you walk around without one. I had to sprint back home, dodging puddles and existential dread simultaneously. Lunch was another masterpiece in questionable culinary choices. I attempted to make a salad. Sounds healthy, right? Wrong. I accidentally dumped an entire bottle of dressing into the bowl. It was now less salad and more soggy vegetable soup. I ate it anyway because, at this point, survival is more important than taste. Mr. Whiskers gave me the side eye again, which I swear is slowly turning into audible judgment. Then came the real chaos. A surprise video call from the higher-ups. Normally, I'm fine with these, but today I had decided to wear a shirt that looked professional on camera. Mistake. Turns out, it had a hole right at the shoulder seam that I hadn't noticed until the call started. I tried to angle myself just right so no one would see it, but of course my camera tilted, revealing the hole for exactly 3.2 seconds. Those 3.2 seconds were burned into my memory forever. I think my boss might have noticed, but instead of mentioning it, they just nodded gravely, which I interpreted as both approval and silent judgment simultaneously. After the call, I decided enough was enough. I needed a break. I lay down on the couch, scrolling through social media, and stumbled upon a video of someone tripping over nothing while holding a cup of coffee. I laughed harder than I had all week, because let's face it, that's basically my life condensed into 5 seconds. Humor truly is survival. Evening came, bringing both relief and mild existential dread. I cooked dinner, successfully this time, thank you very much, did some laundry, and even remembered to water the sad little plant I'd been ignoring for weeks. It's amazing how small accomplishments can feel like heroic victories. I poured myself a glass of wine, sat down with my laptop, and finally took a moment to reflect. Despite the chaos, the technology failures, the minor catastrophes, and Mr. Whisker's constant judgment, I realized something important. I survived. I laughed at myself. I made it through the week, and tomorrow would be a new day to make mistakes, spill coffee, and somehow pretend to be an adult. And honestly, that's kind of beautiful in a weird, messy way that I finally crawled into bed that night, exhausted but content. Mr. Whiskers had already claimed his spot in the middle of the blankets. Classic. And I took the tiny corner that remained. I smiled, thinking, I may not have it all together, but at least I'm still here, still laughing, and still managing to eat something that resembles food. And that, in the grand scheme of things, is more than enough.